Hi, welcome to week 1, lesson 2. Let's get started. Now we're going to learn our first Hebrew letter. This is the letter Bet. This letter makes the same sound as the English letter B. It's not important to remember the names of the letters. Knowing the names of the letters is not going to make it easier for you to read. Try to focus on the sound that the letter makes. So when you see this letter, try to remember that it makes the sound of the English letter B. And here's an easy way to remember that. The bet looks like a ball in a box. So if every time you see this letter, you can think of a ball in a box, you'll remember really easily that it makes the sound of the English letter B. Here's what the letter looks like. And here's how we're going to remember it. Now we're going to take our same word, banana, and we're going to replace the English letter B with the Hebrew letter that makes the same sound. So this word banana, you can still read it. This we've replaced for the B, and we can still read ba-na-na. Okay? Same word, just a different shape for the letter B. That's the letter bet, but it makes the same sound as the English letter B. The next letter we're going to learn is the Hebrew letter Gimel. The Gimel looks like a guy playing golf. Let's have a look. Doesn't he look like a guy playing golf? So every time you see this letter Gimel, you can picture a guy playing golf, and you'll remember that it makes the sound of the English letter G. Now here is our first example of how Hebrew is a much easier language than English. This guy, this Gimel, he makes the sound of the English letter G, as in golf or gal, but it never changes. It never makes a j sound. It never makes a j sound. It's always g. So anytime you see this letter, you'll know that it's a hard G. This is the letter Daled. It makes the sound of the English letter D. Daled looks like a door. Every time you see the little letter Daled, you can picture a door, and remember that it makes the sound of the English letter D. Here's a fun fact. There are no capital letters in Hebrew. That means that there's an entire alphabet that you don't need to remember. There are no capital letters at the beginning of a name, no capital letters at the beginning of a city, no capital letters at the beginning of a sentence. There are no capital letters. Now we're going to learn our first vowel. And if you remember, vowels are always hanging out below the line. This vowel is just a short little line, and it's called a patach. Patach sounds like the A in far. Ah. Patach always sounds like ah. It doesn't matter what letter comes before or what letter comes after. It always makes the sound of the English letter combination AH. Ah. Never changes. Here's another vowel. Kamatz. It also sounds like the A in far. It also never changes. It looks like a little T, and it's always hanging below the line. Anytime you see it, anytime you see either this vowel or this vowel, they make the same sound as the English letter combination AH. And now, if you're ready, we're going to read our first word in Hebrew. Now this letter, if you'll remember, looks like a ball in a box. See the ball in a box? So it sounds like the English letter B. And since the vowels hang below the line, we're going to read it down and over. We're going to read from right to left, and we're going to include the vowel that's below the line. So we have the English letter sound B, B, the vowel A, and this letter looks like a door and makes the sound of the English letter D. So we have B, A, D. Bad. Bad. Bad means cloth in Hebrew. Here's another word that you can already read. This letter looks like a door, D. It's a dalid, D, with the vowel A. And this letter looks like a guy playing golf, so you know it sounds like a G, G. So we're reading from right to left with the vowel below the line, and we're reading dag, dag. Dag means fish in Hebrew. So if you will open up the book of Jonah in the original Hebrew, chapter 2, verse 1, and you look at the third word in that verse, you'll already be able to read a word in the Hebrew Bible. You see the third word? You can read that, dag. It says, Vayeman Hashem dag gadol livloa et Yonah. And God prepared a great fish to swallow up Jonah. Dag means fish. Now that we've had our first example from the Bible, I'd like to answer a question that a lot of people have. Are we learning modern Hebrew or biblical Hebrew? You might be surprised to know that modern Hebrew and biblical Hebrew are very similar. Most of the words from the Hebrew Bible are included in modern Hebrew. We read modern Hebrew the same way. We pronounce the words the same way. The main difference that you have is with modern Hebrew, there are new vocabulary words for things like airplane, telephone, things that you just didn't have in Bible times. So whether you're interested in learning biblical Hebrew or modern Hebrew, these lessons are the place to start. Let's continue with our last word for lesson 2. This is the letter that looks like a guy playing golf, G, and the vowel that makes the A sound. This is the letter dalid that looks like a door, makes the sound of the English letter D. So we've got G, A, D. Gad. Gad. So here you'll have your first insight into pronouncing Hebrew in the correct way. Gad is actually the proper pronunciation of the tribe of how people like to say in English, Gad. It's not in fact Gad, it's pronounced Gad. So next time you want to pronounce the tribe of Gad, you can pronounce it correctly. It's a tribe of Gad. Now that finishes up lesson 2. So we finished week 1 of the 6 weeks of learning to read Hebrew.